Okay, we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us on episode 8 on Sportscast ZA. This evening, I have with me an amazing and incredible woman that I've met in my life. Very honored to have you on. She's not only a mother, she obviously represented South Africa at netball, and we'll delve into that. A super sport presenter and a businesswoman, and obviously I mentioned being a mom, which is ultimately
Yeah.
important. We actually just I heard her kids now before she came onto the live, trying to negotiate being on. So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that. Thanks for making time for us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to, for us to have a chat
Yes.
tonight. Yeah.
Now it's going to be an incredible conversation. Sorry, when I look away, I'm just referring to my screen as well because I have to
Yeah.
produce the thing as well. So apologies in advance for that. Um, I just want to play an insert here quickly that I found of you. Where are we? Okay, this is not supposed to be happening. Apologies for the delay. There we go. Just to give our audience a background.
My first memory of the NMU Sports Center was when we had trials. So I was a newbie. I got a scholarship from Teresa LaRue, who changed my life, and she introduced me to Lana Kruger, fantastic coach. We're all here for trials because you wanted to make that first team, and you want to impress her. So when I got here, you have all these names, Helen Totana and Yolanda Salmons and all that. So everyone wants to make it to the first team. And it was competitive because everyone wants to impress Lana. I mean, she's a hard cookie. That team, finally, I made the first team. When I was included in that team, the people, the confidence in me, it changed my life. And I am grateful. I mean, today I hold a master's degree because of what Teresa Leroux and NMU gave me bursary. So it started there. I never went back. I was included in the national team, made the under 19 SA team. So for me, NMU, it's where all the magic happened.
So, Nontle, that's obviously us, giving the audience a background, a briefing, but also jumping ahead, We'll get to the beginning of things. I just thought, I'd share that. How many times have you seen that video?
I think it's my third, fourth time now. I think someone tagged me on Instagram. I think it was NMU actually tagged me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, no, that's awesome. I just found it amazing. You've done such special things in your life. And the humility you have, like if anyone meets you, you would never say this is someone that's done some incredible things in her life. And we're gonna touch on that obviously tonight. Um, Nontle, I wanna go back to like the beginning of growing up and how the culture and environment shaped you in your early years. What was that like?
Yo, I grew up, most for black families. We like 10 or 12 in one house. A lot of
Yes.
cousins, aunts, uncle, mom. So yeah, family was big, but I was like a tomboy from a very young age. I never used to play with girls. Playing with dolls is something that I never used to do. So I'll play
Yes.
basketball or running, just racing with the guys. Soccer. Well, I started soccer because I believe I had two left feet. But majority of the time, I grew up with the boys. So my friends were boys. So I I love sport from a very young age. I mean, I used to do everything. I used to do athletics. I used to do netball. I tried rugby. I got tackled once, and then I was like, I'm never going to do this. I also tried cricket. I was also doing ballroom in Latin American. In primary school, you do everything. Oh, I used to
Yes.
do yeah. Oh, I hated it. And you were forced to do choir because
Yeah.
those days kids were not like this where you have a choice to do this and that. So I did
Yeah.
almost everything. So from a young age, I think when I was 13, I got selected for cross country for the province. So I thought, okay, so I like this thing. And when I went to high school, I met a teacher that used to take us every Friday, sleep over her house. And then on Saturday, we'll run the 10Ks, the 5Ks. So that was my life. So from there on, everything just, took off. She actually trained me how to be a defender. It's so funny when I teach my kids, I teach them the same things that she taught
Yes.
me. Just hold your dress, make sure you don't hold other people. So it's just escalated actually when I got into varsity, because when I was in high school, the teacher left the school and said to me, "You have to go. You're not going to grow here." So I had to change schools. I went to another sporty, academic school. And yeah, I was a coach there, captain, I was just doing everything. And when I just finished when I was doing metric, actually, I started, when I was 16, I was um, taken by this local club. Started playing local club when I was very young. So I was the youngest in the team. So that's how I got to play a lot of league, netball, athletics, and everything. And my mom was like, "No, this is not going to work. It's too much money that I'm paying every weekend. So you're going to have to choose netball or athletics." So I had to choose netball. And then from there, I got selected for the national team under 19, but I was 17. I think I was grade 11. And then that's where NMU saw me. And then grade 12, they offered me a scholarship. I didn't even know what they were talking about. I'm like, "What are you talking
Yes.
about? You pay for your fees and all that." So I think it started from a very young age that I knew that I was athletic. I just enjoyed running. Anything that has to do with running, basketball, physical play, Jay. That was me. And at home is, a lot of kids. I was that one. When someone is messing with you, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
there. I'm gonna protect you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So
call that person.
yeah, I had like three cousin brothers. All of them were like soft, 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 and then they would
Yes.
get bullied, and then I would go. So I was a tomboy, like
A
stone
proper tomboy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
proper a tomboy. So I was that person, and I think um growing up also with a lot of family, a lot of aunts, there's little things that you take from them. There's things that you also learn from the streets. There's things that you learn from school. So I think I enjoyed my time at school. I even tell my kids, I'm like, you have to enjoy your time at school, because once you get to a certain age, a certain level, you are not going to enjoy it. I wish I could just go back because school was so fun. So yeah,
Yes.
sports started from the very, very young age. Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. And obviously, thanks for sharing that with us. You've obviously touched on a few of the points, so I'm just gonna, skip through, um, and ask the next question. Like, when you started your journey, ultimately as a 17-year-old, playing national team, what was that like? Because, that's completely new to you. So I remember when I got to a national camp before, I had no idea what that was like. For me,
Hmm.
I was just happy to travel, right? And I didn't have the molding of, okay, when you get to this point, yes, I had good mentors, but, all over the place, so to speak, doing their own things as well. So I got there and I obviously had, somewhat of preparation going into it. But for me, that was just like, I'm traveling lekker, not knowing I would be sitting next to a Kagiso Rabada, um, literally, at the same camp. And, looking at it, how were you prepared for that?
I think I was also not prepared for that. I was just playing netball because I loved it. You couldn't wait to end school so that you can go to practice. So, or you can't wait to go and play leagues on a Wednesday or Saturday. So when I was selected for the provincial team, which was not the first time because I made the first time when I was, I think, 15, and then 16, 17, and then they selected me for the national team. It was to me, oh, okay, national team.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with Swaziland. Oh, okay. All right, I'm traveling. I'm gonna fly, and then the flying up and down because I was based in PE, and then we're flying to Pretoria to the HBC. So to me, it was all about making friends. I have these new friends. I can't wait to see them. Yeah, I think I had the talent. I was one of those top players. I was never prepared mentally for it because I think I was still a kid. I was just having fun. Everybody was just having fun. You know,
Yes.
didn't even know that it's going to be competition when it comes to who's starting, who's not starting. We actually didn't care. We just like enjoyed, flying up and down or traveling up and down and getting pocket monies and come back at
Yeah.
home. So it was just, it was something that was like, oh, okay, I make the national team. Ooh. But when I came back and then there was we had awards and then I won. I think I won 7 awards. And I didn't even understand why am I winning 7 awards because the other people
Yes.
here, you understand? And I was like, and then the president of South Africa then, Mrs. Ndamdi Ravele, she said, "You're gonna be the next Protea." I didn't even know what she's talking about. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, I'm gonna be the next Protea. At that time, I was so content in my life that, when you're a young kid and then you're getting all these opportunities to you, you think this is life, this is it.
Yes.
I was just enjoying the experience and yeah, the fact that I was selected. I didn't know that it was so big until I got into the under 21s because the under 21 is just one step closer to the Proteas. So yeah, so under 19 was still like, still immature, baby excited. Woo. Under 21, that's where everything started to, you know, light the bulb.
No, that's awesome. And speaking of, your debut and someone having prophesied that over your life, I found an article. I think this might have been your first inclusion into the national side. It's dated the 30th of October 2005.
Phew.
And I'm just gonna, briefly go through it to the point where, you come in. So it says there are three new caps in the national netball squad for the three test series against England in November. And another surprise move by Netball SA at the time. New captain Ntabiseng Moabi to
Hmm.
lead the 12-member squad. Two new caps, Nontle Gwavu and Zanele Ndondana.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that time? And was this like the first time you were told, or have you been told before the 30th of October?
Oh no, the 30th of October was long after I was selected for the under 19s. Under 19 was 2001.
Okay.
So so that one 2005 I was already playing for the under 21 SA team. So that's where the competition is. We started traveling up and down and then we were also preparing for the under 21 Junior World Cup in Miami. So when we
Yes.
came I just wanted that position and I knew I was going to get it. So because I was working hard, I had a very great coach also, tough cookie, and she would push me. You understand? So when I came back and then we had those trials, I the way I prepared, I knew I was going to make that team. If I was not going to make that team, I was just going to swallow it because I'm young, not because I couldn't play because I was sharp. I was untouchable at that time. So when they announced it, I was happy because we just came back from the youth national champs. Sorry, world champs, and then that October, I think we went to. That was my first test series in Australia. I think that's when my first debut was. My first cap was
Yes.
for the
Yes.
yeah. Yes. But it was not. it was, for me, I knew I was going to get into the team, but playing was a different story because of
Yes.
no lack of experience and all that, and there's other people who've been there. Yeah, I struggled a bit. So because I was young, and also I had to, to be patient and sit on the bench. You know how it is when you're younger
Yeah.
and all that, and there's politics and people fighting you, and there's a lot, but I knew that I'm going to get in here and I'm here to stay because
Yes.
very extremely hard. Yeah.
No, look, you obviously touch on, in your early days where you would just, go out, play every kind of sport that was available to you. And
Mm.
for me, I think that's also very similar. But for the modern day student or, aspiring netballer, what would they have to do, would you say, if you had to break that down and simplify it for them today? What would you say that would look like? The preparations for getting into any team, your school team, first team, school team, your provincial side, and then beyond that point.
I think what you need to do now, I mean, I have a child, he's 10. We are trying to get him to, oh, wow, the dad is trying to make him specialize in cricket already. And my thing
Okay.
is just to allow him to play different sports so that he can choose whatever he's good at. And also it helps with, coordination and discipline,
Movement, yeah.
all that. So now I'll say when you're in primary school, don't specialize in anything. Play as many sports as possible. Play everything if you can. You understand? You're still young. You don't know that maybe I might have been good at hockey if hockey was at my school. Do you understand? So play as much as possible. When you get to high school, then you can choose the ones that you want to play, but don't focus on one sport also. You understand? So, because I feel like we specialize too early, and that's why our
Yes.
kids are growing. Because you can find a kid that has been playing center when she was in prep school. She gets to high school, she expects herself to play center, but she's not center anymore. Maybe she's tall. You understand? We wanted to go play in the circles, but because she
Yes.
was told that she was center when she was prep school, now she doesn't want to move. And now instead of just taking that opportunity and allow the coach to play you where the team needs you, you'd rather stop, or you have attitude. And remember, when you have attitude, negative attitude towards a position, you're not going to play your best, and you end up not getting selected. You end up having a very bad season. You end up dropping the sport because the coach doesn't like you, and the coach didn't say anything like that. So you need to be open-minded as kids. I always say to even parents, I think the parents play a big role. My mom was never involved in my things. I'll complain about everybody else, and then she'll be like, what did you do? And then I'm like, no, no, they don't want to play me here. She's like, okay, so you play where your coach said you must play. So I think
Yes.
that's that we need to emphasize to these kids, and also just to allow them to play the sports that they want to play. And if you really want to make it in sport, in any other sport, you're gonna have to put extra hours, one
Yes.
twice with the school training is not enough. You understand? So you need to do something different. You need to join a club. You need to put extra work. And it's not only extra work physically, also mentally, what we eat, especially now when you get to varsity. That is going to be very crucial because in varsity, you tend to go, maybe if you're from Joburg, you go and study in Port Elizabeth. Now, all of a sudden, you do your own, you make your own food, you're just independent. Things change. People tend to think that, oh, this is,
Yes.
freedom. And then you started eating burgers. Those burgers are really going to pull you back. So it's a lot. If you want to be a proper athlete, your physicality is important, but your mental state is also important. What you eat, who you hang out with. Because other people at 5 o'clock, you're supposed to be at training, you're partying. So you have to make those sacrifices. You need to know what you're there for. So I always say to kids, to my girls, I'm not saying don't go party, but know what you want. It's not the same thing maybe the next person wants. So you need to be disciplined. and you need to know exactly what you want. So with me, I was never a club type of person. I was sporty. So I always say that if it wasn't really for the NMU, I would have been sitting at home having maybe 5 kids, because that's the lifestyle. So I stayed in
Yes.
sport, and I even my weekend was just sports. And because of the extra hours that I put in there, that the coach didn't even know that I was doing, I knew
Yes.
I would
Yes.
go 45 minutes of hard intensity cardio training, because I knew that I wanted to be in that team. So that's why sometimes people call me cocky, but it's not being cocky, it's knowing, it's the confidence, because I knew that
Yeah.
I've been torturing myself. I knew that when you were sleeping, I was awake and doing lunges there. When you were drinking, I was also there at the club. I left at 2 o'clock, you left at 5, but I knew what I wanted to do. You understand? So it's all those sacrifices that we need to make. But it's in this day and age, we need the buy-in from the parents, because I feel like a lot of times our parents are the ones that are like, my child plays goal attack, but I don't need her goal attack. And then the minute you fight as a coach, you fight with the parent, a parent fighting with the coach, and then that mindset and the attitude of the child changes towards the coach. All of a sudden, just throwing attitude towards the coach, and she's not the same child anymore. So those are the things that we really need to look at as coaches as well. So if we want to take these kids to the next level, it's not always personal that the coach doesn't
Yes.
like. Yeah, so I think that's a buy-in and communication that we need to have with the parents.
Yeah, I've 100%, witnessed, players not wanting to play in a certain position because they feel they know better. Meanwhile, they're still in the process of learning. And, we've kind of experienced that. And because you touch on, the hard work that when no one is watching, I remember my busiest time of playing sport and working, I would, work from travel from, let's say, 5 in the morning to get to the Wanderers, train for 3 hours,
Yeah.
travel to get to work for 6 hours, and then get home. And then I remember because I was training at the Wanderers, I always did my own work. So I would get home and I would then do like a beep test at 10 p.m. at night, go to bed, wake up, repeat. So it's very difficult these days, for kids to understand that that's what it's gonna take. Anywhere close to or less than that, talent isn't good enough. And then Nontle,
Yeah.
you touch on specialization. Um,
You sit there.
you had to
Someone
choose
meeting.
between netball and athletics, right?
Athletics.
I want
Yeah.
to know
Yeah.
what made you choose netball and not athletics, because I can only assume that you were a great athlete, athletically as well.
No, that was just finance, because remember athletics, we used to pay every, when you go and watch and run the 10Ks, you need to affiliate, let's say it's 200 rand or whatever. So my mom said, no, I don't have money for this, I can't be doing this all the time. And netball, we had a transport that was fetching us from home and dropping us straight,
Okay.
in front of your gate. And then she said, no, I don't have money for this, I can't be doing this every weekend. And I understood that. So she said, I must choose. And then I was like, okay, cool, I'll choose netball, even though that my heart was, with athletics, and I had to go with netball. So it was just that my mom said, no, I can't fund this anymore. Week in, week out, every weekend, I need to pop up money for transport and registration. I don't have it. You understand? So I
Yeah, I
stopped.
I remember my cricket also got to a stage where obviously my dad used to invest in it initially. And then when I finished school, I now needed to take over that investment. And I was like, man,
Yeah.
this is going nowhere.
No.
I need to pivot quickly.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I'm
very
just
quickly.
spending on something.
Yeah.
that's already so challenging.
Yeah.
Some people, that's their job, is to be an athlete. Mine
Yeah.
was, I'm still trying to break in, and I'm already doing all these things. And so
Yeah.
that's my reason for specializing in coaching. And I couldn't be more proud of, making that decision.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
i, I want to touch on, you obviously had the coach you mentioned at NMU. Do you have any other mentors that guided you and helped you along your way, from family to coaches to friends?
Yeah. So from if I start from prep school, there was a teacher there. There was two teachers actually, a male and the female, Miss Masiza, and then I think it was Tisharu Aba. So those were the people who were really pushing me in prep school. And then when I joined the club, the local club, when they saw me playing for the under 15 and asked me to play for the club, was this young? She was actually 4 years older than me, but she was matured. She was our coach. She was tough. Yo, she was very strict. So she's the one who kind of, I will go play on Saturday and come back, and they will go clubbing. And they'll say to me, "Oh, okay, so club is not for kids. So you go home, they'll go drop me at home and make sure that I'm there, and then make sure that they pick me up tomorrow, maybe if we have um a match or whatever." So they kind of mentored me because I was the youngest, telling me about life. Don't drink alcohol, don't do this, not that you'll fall pregnant and all those things. And they'll be like, you need to stay in sports. So I think she's one of the people. Her name was Linda. Is she still alive? Was Linda Daimani. She's one of the people that actually, took me from to join the club, that actually joined the top one of the top leagues in PE, and that's how NMU saw me. So if it wasn't for me playing for the club, I don't know where I would have would have ended up. So yeah, and also I have a coach when I got here, Professor. When I was still in PE, he used to
Oh,
advise,
yes.
do this and do that. You understand? So he's been really amazing. So there's few other people in my life. My mom also, shame, she wasn't there all the time to watch me, but she was very supportive in terms of, you know um me playing, or going to make sure that I get to school. And also, oh yes, the principal from this other high school, um the lady that actually taught me netball, the one who said I must hold my skirt, Mem Lamane, and the principal who said to me when I didn't want to go to university, and then he sat me down and said, okay, so if you don't want to go to university, you want to play netball. Okay, so you want to make that a profession? I'm like, yes, I don't want to, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to, I'm not doing that. And he said, okay, just tell me this. So if you don't want to go to school, and then you play netball, what happens when you break your leg? Yo, and then I just kept quiet for a long time. And then he made it worse. You can't do anything. You're sitting in the wheelchair. You don't even have it. He,
Yes.
whoo. And then I think that's where my brain said, listen, he said, this sport is not sustainable. A lot of people are getting injuries, and their careers are cut short. You're going to have something to fall back into. So if the opportunities are there for you to go to university, take it. And yeah, so he spoke some sense into me. I was actually asking somebody if he's still alive, because I really want to thank him as one of the people who really,
Yes.
you know spoke some sense into me. He was a cool, calm guy. And I was like, I was so adamant of, I am not going to university. I am not going to university. But when he said those words to me, and yeah, so I should really find him if he's still alive. I'm hoping, just to say thank you. So those are the people that really. There are other people who are supporting me,
Yes. Yes.
who are cheering me, you know, um, supporting me when I'm leaving, I'm coming back, teammates who were always by my side. And those, who try to block my way, also you need to thank them, because if it wasn't for them,
Yes.
I would have known that I have the muscles
The
to
the
fight.
quality. Yes. Yeah.
You understand? There's some people who really
Yeah.
didn't want me to flourish. They thought they were going to control me, and because of them doing that to me, and me fighting back, I didn't even know I had that in me. So those are the other people that, Reese, when people are closing doors for you, and people, and you feel like, okay, you're defeated, but a few months down the line, you actually, everything now is coming into place, and you're like, oh, thank goodness you pushed me out, because if I was still there, I was never going to look this way. So we need to thank them, and the school that you're in also.
Nice. Shout out. Shout out to them. That's not me saying that. That's Nontle, guys.
Shout
don't
out to you.
shoot. Don't shoot the messenger. Um, so obviously, you've attained so many milestones in your life. Um, obviously under 21. Under 19, obviously before that. And then the national side, you've been a mom, you're married, and whatever else. In your mind, if you had to list like 5 milestones that set you on your trajectory to, where you are now and where you want to go, which we'll touch on a little bit later, what would you say those pivotal milestones or timelines would look like?
Hmm. Okay, I think the very first one is where how I grew up and where I grew up. I knew that I didn't want that for my kids. It was not a, a nice kind of environment. So that's where I grew up a long time ago. I'm like, this sport thing, I need to take it seriously. And when the principal said to me, you need to study in, and I took it, and I ran with it. I became independent at a very young age, and then when I was still studying, I was working at a restaurant, supporting my mom who was also not working. So there were a lot of things that actually pushed me to not to mess up, because I didn't have plan B. I only had one. So this ship is here, and it went back. Now I'm in this island stuck here. I need to make it work. So that's what's my
Yeah,
life. So that I don't repeat. I don't want that lifestyle from home. You understand? I just wanted to change the narrative.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and also I pray that God just gives me education. It was not always easy, but give me, okay, give me this education, and I promise you I'll do something about it. I just wanted to change also the narrative from where I come from. When you come from, people are like, no, you never amount to anything, whatever. And I wanted to change that as well. And when I got selected for the national team, that's where I realized that there is, I have capabilities. I
Yes.
like my coach used to say that, how great you are. And I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever, because I never used to believe it. But once things started to come, and I was like, oh, now I believe it. There's certain things that I didn't think that I was capable of doing that I can do, but because I was around certain people, and they started happening. Um, and also, I think one of the other things is I wanted to change. Like that's something that I'm working on even right now. One of the other things is I want to go to the location, because I think we have a lot of jams there. We have gold there, but there are not a lot of people. There's not opportunities for them. Do you understand? I
Yes.
want to the location and pick up another Nontle Gwavu and take it out of there. You understand? And give opportunities, because if it wasn't for university, my mom was a domestic worker. My dad was a taxi driver. Didn't even know him at that time. You understand? So I knew that it was never going to happen. I'm never going to go to university. But once I got the bursary, took it, and that's how I studied. So I want to give those kids those opportunities as well. I want to give kids that are doing matric but who can't afford to go to school an opportunity to, to have a skill that can allow them to do something. Do you understand? Some can do
Yes.
coaching, do something else. So I'm still working on that. I don't know how that thing look like, but My passion is, I always said here at home, like, oh my goodness, I just saw Lotto is on 195. I wish I win it, because my
Yes,
life, the only thing that I'll be worried about is like, whose life am I going to change tomorrow? That's
yes.
what I want to do. So that's me. I just change somebody's life. And I think the other thing is, I want to be a good role model, and just and just channel my kids into the right direction. I think that is the biggest thing for me, is just to be make sure I'm there for them, to support them, and I allow them to do what they want to do, but I need to be there just to you know to to push them in the right direction. So nothing fancy, but yeah, those are my values: family, my purpose, which is grooming kids and making sure that I change the narrative of our society. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm glad you touched on the township because for me that's a massive thing. That's part of the reason why I started this because I know where this could potentially go. I know that someone might see this and come on board and say, "How can we help you?" Um,
Mhm.
we obviously, have a sponsor that we, working with at the moment, who I
Mhm.
then discussed my potential going back, giving back into the townships, and they also align with that. They obviously, need to wait for certain things financially to get to a point where they can now give back.
Yeah.
And I hope, with our new minister who spoke, in public as well with regards to bringing not education, sport back into schools. That's a
Yeah.
big passion for me as well. So, that's already two aspects, private sponsorship. The minister hopefully comes to the party as well to say, listen, guys, you guys already have these networks, you have the idea, you have the brains, we just need to assist you to implement it. So I literally have um so many ideas that I've learned from the areas I work in, and our kids also deserve to have festivals and weekly fixtures, even if they're just traveling locally and playing each other. I mean, I used to do that. I remember playing cricket
Yeah.
in the
Do
area,
that.
and then I would,
Yeah.
travel outside every now and then, it has a ripple effect because at the end of the day, like for me now, I remember, my dream playing cricket in high school. I always saw, oh, this is a nice school or this is a nice area. I'm getting nice kit, So if you don't see something, you can't envision it,
You
you
can't
can't
dream something that you don't know
you
about.
can't dream. Yes. So that's another thing for me. That's probably point number one. I want to get them out of the
Mm.
community. Yes, implement sport on the ground, make sure that's, but get them to go and see other aspects of life, and so that they can dream to, ultimately get out, which, I'm grateful to sit here and say I have attained for the last 4 years. I've been living outside of where I grew up, and I've lived in a place I actually want to live, which is Sandton, which is incredible. And I
Yeah.
say that because I want to say this. Um, it's a fact that Sandton is, you know, the richest square mile in Africa. And
Yeah.
and that's where I want to be able to tap into and say, okay, richest square mile in Africa, how can I go in there and show my value so that I can take my value back to my community? You sitting on the podcast can go back and take your vision to PE, and so many other people who's been on so far.
Mm.
That's already a network of success in terms of what we want to achieve regarding
Yeah.
giving back. So I hope someone special is watching this to support us in our dreams.
Yeah.
um what advice do you have for aspiring netball players who wants to be a professional netball player specifically?
Well, you're gonna have to do it. I think there is three main things. Discipline is one of them. Discipline in your training, discipline in your eating, discipline and things that the way you carry yourself, man, is important. You can't say you want to be a netball player, but yeah, are you doing other things on the side? I always say that kids need to understand they what is this? They mental health. Oh well, these kids now don't
Yes.
have that. You understand? When you don't like something, voice it out. I feel like
Resilience.
yeah. So I used to be quiet because I don't know if I speak. Remember the culture that we come from. You just need to be seen and not heard. So
Yes.
quiet. So speak, but speak in a very respective way. You can send the way your message across, but in a very respective way. Because I feel like sometimes we don't allow kids to be themselves because we have this autocratic way of coaching. We don't allow them to voice out their opinions. So as a child, as a player, if you have that communication with your coach, it is so easy to make it because you know what to do. You ask your coach, what do I need to work on? What do you think, is missing? Do you think I'll do it or whatever? That communication because some of the kids that I have that communication with, they're actually doing well. You understand? So discipline and with this communication and the resilience, you need to have that, and you just need to have the passion. If you have a passion for netball, you make it. You will have
Yeah.
because to you it's not going to be practice like, oh my god, I'm dragging my feet. No, it's this is where I
I
want to
want to
be.
be there. I'm excited to be there.
That is then I want to fight, I want to win. You understand? And make use of those relationships because the way you handle yourself on court, the way you think, the way you react to failure, the way you react to a opponent that is not nice, it's the way you are going to react to life. If you give up too easy, that's how you're going to do in life. If you're going to cry each and every little thing that happens, you're going to go to mommy, that's exactly what's going to happen. So what we learned in sport, my personality now is a personality that I had on court.
Yes.
You you know of course you're gonna have butterflies. You're scared, but I'm gonna get in here. I'm gonna do what I have to do. I'm gonna work with my team. I'm going to make sure that I step up, and I'm gonna do my best. And if you step on my toes, I'm gonna respond to that. So that's the kind of you know of what is kind of attitude that I have. So they just need to have passion. I have passion for netball. Even when I'm sick, I get up, I go to netball, I come back much better because I know I'm gonna meet these kids. They're gonna ask me the same question 10,000 times. For some
Yes.
reason, I don't get tired. You understand? I just enjoy
Yes.
it.
Okay.
So love it. If you love
It's
it,
therapeutic, actually.
extremely therapeutic. Extremely. So yeah.
No, that's thanks for sharing that insight. You spoke about obviously being on the court. So I want to know, from someone who's, played test matches in South Africa, outside of South Africa, what sort of skills, nicks, traits, can someone incorporate to get better?
Well, it depends what you have. I had I had the skill, like the fighting skill. I had the skill, like I had I don't want to say natural skill because I needed to do something more to actually sharpen it. So other people will have maybe um they know how to be they know how to fight for the next person. I had to learn that in university. I didn't know. I was just fighting for me. Okay. You as a shooter, you just need to shoot. That's how tough I was. I, you understand? So
Yes.
other people know how to to make other people feel good. I had to learn that in university, and yeah, I think yeah, and also you need to train and focus on the things that you're good at. Um, and then work on the things that you're not good at. But we tend to
Yes.
focus on the good things that we're not good at, and we take for granted, and the ones that we're good at. So I was never good in I was never strong in terms of physicality. Like I was never I didn't have a lot of muscle, but I was light in the air. I was like a feather. I was light in the air. I was shorter. I was, you understand? So I understood my strengths, and I didn't want to copy anybody else. So I used my strength to suit me. So I knew that if there's a certain shooter, there's a big shooter, that one is gonna go there because she's strong, and then she can push that shooter. I'm good in the air. I'm good with the flyers. I'm a hunter type of thing. I'm good on the floor, so I had quick feet. So always focus on things that you're good at, and don't focus on things that you're not good at. Otherwise, you are going to go insane because we're not good in everything.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah.
No, 100%. You touched on a point that I firmly believe on, which is this is how I would say it is like sport is directly translated to life.
What's going on now?
And I say that to say
Sorry,
this because
Reese,
sport.
sorry. You vanished for like 30 seconds. I couldn't hear anything you said.
Sorry. I was saying, I don't know. It's network issues probably.
Yeah.
We hope to improve. Hopefully someday we can have this in person, and then we don't have that problem.
Yeah,
Um,
it will happen.
No, I was saying, like, if you can translate sport to life, that means if you're playing sport, that means your mental health is gonna improve, your health
Oh,
is gonna improve. It has a ripple effect, and it's weird how that works because it's amazing how a sport can teach you discipline, can teach you work ethic, can teach you rocking up early, can teach you so many things that life, requires of you. And I guess that just helps you navigate life so much easier as well.
100%. I mean, I am involved in the Betway 12 men. So they are doing something for the ex-professional players. They used to do it with soccer. Now they just try to include everyone. We have mixed martial art people, boxing, netball, canoeing, soccer, cricket, and all that. So what they're doing is to help ex-professional players to establish themselves. Understand? So a lot of people they don't know what to do after sports. You understand? But I was
Yes.
like, so most people, they don't get that opportunity, especially soccer players, because they start playing
Yeah.
soccer at a very young age. So what you're saying, it's very important because I said to them, so you have your Lucas Hadebe, your Arense, and all the guys, even we had Victor Matfield, to talking about the pivot, from sports
Yes.
to the business now, because you're not going to play forever. Injuries and age kicks in, and then what do you do? And one of my main things were I am struggling to. I mean, when I was a player, I knew I'm training at 6:30. I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. You understand? I'm playing this game. This is who I'm playing. I'm prepared for that. Mentally, I was
Yeah.
very physically. I was. When you're physically strong, mentally you would.
Mentally, it has a ripple effect. Yeah.
And you understand? I knew how to handle this, and now you have an injury. You don't train as much, and you stop playing. Um, you you now okay, not gaining weight, but you're not as fit as you used to be. Now you are faced with kids, family challenges, and all of a sudden you don't know how to deal with that. You are faced with business challenges. You're like, okay, work challenge. You don't even know how to deal with it, because as a player, you would know exactly how to deal with it because
Yes.
you are and mentally tough. Now that you don't train as much, your mental toughness also disappears at some stage. And especially
Yeah.
if it's something new, it's gonna overwhelm you. You find yourself crying, you find yourself, depressed. And because a lot of people are losing their identity, I used to be not look Gwavu on TV. All of a sudden, people don't call me no more. Financially, is it's kicking in. So it's important that we we keep the mental toughness there. Um, I think we need to allow ourselves to know that this is the first stage. I'm done with this. Now I'm a mom. Now I'm a wife. Now I'm a whatever, and not allow ourselves to sink, because now what I used to know is not there anymore. Now I'm a new person. So those are the things that a lot of people that are struggling with. And I thought also, I thought I was a baby. I even asked Arin, do you guys struggle with not I'm not crazy or I'm not depressed in any way, but do you struggle with handling situations outside of sports? And then when everybody said yes, because you're not fit anymore, or you're not strong anymore, or it's not netball, it's not soccer, it's not cricket anymore. Now it's real life. Now it's real
Yeah.
challenge. And then how do you deal with this thing? You understand? So I thought like, okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm not right, I'm not the only one. Everybody's going through this. So those are the things that they need to be taught during your career, that you will go through this. You need to prepare for this. So I think Bedouin is doing a great job in terms of trying, but it's after. But it will be great for them to do it before people go, because
Yes.
mental health and people not looking after themselves, it's as sports people, it's a lot. It's a lot, and we have so much to offer, because we have something that other people don't have. We know how to be in the team setup. We know how to absorb the pressure. We know how to to own, to lose together, even though it's not my
Yes.
fault. But oh
Yeah.
yeah, so you know how to hold each other accountable in a good way. And that is something that you don't get from people who never played sport. They don't even
Yes.
understand them and tell them, no, but that's not how it's done. They think you're fighting, but you're not fighting. It's not how
It's
it's
just
done.
positive criticism. Yeah.
They want to be praised all the time. No. So we sports people, we don't want to be sugar. We don't want it to be sugar coated. We want it to, straight talk and all that. So it's something that, yeah, I'm gonna make sure that all my kids play sports so that they can
No, they
learn
have to. They have to. They have to learn that. I'll tell you why. Because literally, I had a phone call with a friend for an hour and a half, and he literally just criticized me and saying like, this is what you can work on, which I then implemented for tonight. That's why my questions are rephrased. You see, it's very different to what I had sent you, but it's the same points, but I had rephrased it,
Yeah.
because I can take the criticism and I understand that's an aspect I need to improve on.
Yeah.
Um,
And if people are not allowed to tell you, how are you going to grow? Because you don't know everything.
yeah, absolutely. And
Exactly.
that's exactly that. So I just want to touch on a couple more points before we go. Um,
Yeah.
you've obviously touched on the mental health. I recently experienced, like 2019, I was in high performance, trying to
Mhm.
get into the academy. Like I said, training around the clock plus working. That was my 7 day cycle, like week in, week out. And COVID hit, and then now I've moved on my own. Now I'm on my own, and you can't go anywhere. You're not used to training, So that adjustment, you won't believe me. And I think it took me like 2 years to realize, hey, something's wrong here in my daily life. 2 years later, I was like, surely something's not right here. So then I
Yeah.
figured out, oh yeah, look, I'm not training, Time obviously flies
Yeah.
as well. So you
Yeah.
only realize at a later stage that, this has affected me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But at least you realize that other people don't know, and they act, a certain way because they'll
yeah,
either drink or do whatever. because they're not asking themselves. And the other thing is that's important. You need to ask yourself those what is this uncomfortable questions. It is the hardest thing ever to ask yourself that, because you feel like you failed yourself at some stage.
Yeah.
But if you can identify it, it's a tick, it's a win already. You just need to ask yourself again, and then do what needs to be done. So yeah.
Before we go, do you have any memorable quotes that you would like to share with us?
So there's one that I like. It says, if you don't plan your life, other people will plan it for you. So if you don't know where you're going in life, if you don't have a plan of what you're going to do, like now, before we met, before we did this, we went live, I was
Yes.
writing that what I need to do for 2025. If I don't do that, then I'll fall under somebody else's project. Do you understand?
Yes.
So I always say, if you don't plan, someone else is going to take over. If you don't know your finances, someone is going to tell you how to, live your life, or how to run your finances. If you don't have any belief, you're just going to believe some dogma, or whatever. So it's important to know what you want, and not allow the society to dictate how your life is supposed to be. And I think it's the biggest thing that we're all struggling with, or our kids are struggling with, is that the society will just make glamorize things like alcohol. It's it's glamorized. It's like yeah. It's I don't understand it. It's yeah. People are making it as if it's a best thing, if alcohol this, alcohol that. And the other quote that I like is, even though we've been through adverse situation, or backgrounds and all that, I always say that it's either you choose to be, you can't always be the victim of your past. It's either you be a victim of your past, or you choose to be the master of your destiny. You
Yes.
can't say, my dad was never there. Oh my, you can't cry all the
Yeah.
time. It's either
Yeah.
you're the victim of your past, you're going to repeat that, or you master your own destiny. You've been given an opportunity to make your own choices. Yes, everybody has choice. You need to take it, whether it's favorable or unfavorable. There's still a choice. So yeah, if you want it, you can go get it.
No, that's beautiful. Like I have so many similarities, and I'm gonna go rewatch this and pick on those moments where I also want to change my situation where I come from. You've listed so many things that I also aspire to have. Before I ask my last question, I just want to send a shout out to our sponsor, Coop Active, number one sock
Oh,
in South Africa. They have, well, grip socks rather. They have long sleeve skins. Um, Check out their website, coopactive.com.
okay. Definitely will do
Long,
that.
long sleeve pants, three
Aha.
quarter skins, shorts as well, short skins.
Okay.
And lastly, if you want a 10% discount, you can use Sportscast ZA10 off your first purchase, and then
Oh,
you will get a 10% discount.
is this an
Um,
online shop?
it's an online shop, but they also
No.
have 140 stores nationwide. They're
Oh,
in
okay.
140 stores. So any Cape Union mart, you should find them. That's just off the top of my head,
Oh, okay.
that
Okay.
I
At
can
one. Yeah.
remember now.
Okay.
And then, yeah, in closing, Nontle Gwavu, what would you like to be remembered as?
Oof, I would like to be remembered as someone that changed people's lives, had an impact um in young people who don't know how to protect themselves, or people in general who just doesn't know how to stand up for themselves. I'm very big on, you have to have humility. You have to, I always say to my son that it doesn't matter if uncle is wearing a overall cleaning a yard or a suit is still uncle, and
Yes.
you still say morning or afternoon, whatever. You greet them the same. They're all the same. You understand? So I want to be remembered as someone who, when they walk in, you make people feel comfortable. You make people believe that they can, they can change and improve their situations. Yeah, yeah, especially the kids. I want them to, whatever I'm teaching them, like what my coach did to me, I'm just taking it over, the way I'm teaching my kids and the way, I speak life into them. Yeah, I just want, if I can, have more of those opportunities where I can go and change other people's lives, so that when they have the opportunity to change other people's lives, then we know that, the future is bright, because we're all planting a good, very strong and positive seed. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, that's sort of, yeah, kind of person that I want to be remembered. you know People, touching people's lives, that's the main thing for me.
As they say, like simplicity is key, and that's a very simple statement. But when you say something like that to me, my mind already goes in terms of networks. You know how your
Yeah,
brain is a network? That's how I
yeah,
think in anything I do. Like if you come up with an idea, I see already how I can, scale
yeah,
that idea.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So as much as it's so simple, I know that, we can impact literally a whole
Yeah,
nation if we all
yeah.
put our minds together
Mm.
and we go into our own spaces, our own communities, and then make the difference there.
You
So I
don't want
wanna,
you, yeah.
yeah, sorry, you can go.
I'm saying, you don't want to be fancy and do all these unnecessary things, and that are not going to stick in people's mind. You want to change their thinking. You want to impact and make them happy, because the most important thing in life is how you make people feel. Because when you make them feel good, they will make the second person feel good. That thing is contagious. So that's what I want. I just don't want to, oh, donate 1 million here that you don't even see where it's going. You understand? So for me, it's all in the heart, because this
Yeah, you have to feel it.
produces and it's contagious. Yeah. So that's what I like. That's what I want to do. I pray for every day.
No, we will certainly, through this podcast, work on those things together. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank you so much for spending this evening with us. I'm gonna let you go and be a mom and a wife, and and get back to your work. Nontle, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming.
You are so welcome, Reese, and all the best. And I know the next time I come here, there'll be like 5 other sponsors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's gonna grow enormously. And then we'll
Yeah.
tap into the communities. We'll have that chat as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. No problem. Cheers, man. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Salute.
bye.